Hello, everybody. Armchair updates breaking down scoring week 15. It was our second funky week and a half scoring week due to the All-Star break. So, some of the stuff that we're going to go over, as you well know, is going to be a bit inflated. You know, the hitting, the pitching, all of the actual points are going to be inflated, but we're still going to keep doing it. I didn't know that I was this thing was going to make it to week 15, but there's a decent chance that it didn't catch on at all, or that I didn't like doing it and wouldn't make it halfway through the year. But I do like doing it. People do seem to continue to be watching it, at least, within the league, of course. So yeah, we're going to keep doing it. And it was kind of an exciting, we got an exciting time in the ABL going on right now. We have many teams have now officially clinched playoff spots. The vast majority of the National League, all but one spot decided in the NL, and I think half the spots decided in the AL. I'll have to recheck the notes when we get there, but a lot of stuff getting decided, getting cemented into place. Not necessarily rosters. We're gonna see more trades. I made a big trade last night, and I'll go ahead and address this now. I was talking to somebody through the Discord that had suggested that, maybe that could be construed as the Rockies are getting ready to dump. I traded Luis Robert. I traded Mike Moustakas. The Rockies are not dumping. The Rockies are trying to secure that 8th playoff spot. But full disclosure, I have no illusions about beating whoever it is that I'm going to face in the first round. I know the last time I looked at it, it was going to be either the Dodgers or the Cubs, more likely than not. And I had thought that maybe before the Strasburg news that he's definitely out for the season, I had seen myself potentially being able to ride a Barrios, a healthy Gallen, and a healthy Strasburg into the playoffs. And maybe by that time Lubov would have been healthy as well. Moose maybe would have been healthy. I've been doing what I've been doing without him, but this is not a dump. I've went the entire year and am fighting for a playoff spot without Lubov and without Moose and without Strasburg. Without a lot of guys, without Sixto, without Eliser, without a lot of guys that I traded for to help me out, with a shitty, when he hasn't been hurt, Christian Walker. And I'm gonna be, if it's me, if it's the Mets, it's probably down to me or the Mets. I guess the Diamondbacks could come on strong, but it's probably down to me and the Mets. And whichever one gets it, or if it's the D-backs, we're gonna be a below 500 playoff team. So it's not like when I say I've been doing what I've been doing without these guys, I think I'm doing anything special. I'm not. I'm going to be the worst playoff team. If I make it, I'm going to be the worst playoff team. I did have some hope in the back of my mind before the Strass news. If Strasburg can come back and pitch, like he does, and maybe I get him and Barrios and Gallen on a 2-start week, whatever, I can, and the hitting comes together at the right time. Maybe I can beat the Cubs or whoever it is I end up playing. But now with no Strasburg, that just puts a huge dent, when you go from Strasburg to leaning on Brad Keller, who, can put up a 20-point game, but can just as easy put up a negative. Ditto Mike Minor has put up negatives, has put up 25 plus or whatever, but that just changes your mindset a little bit to, okay, I still, of course, want to make the playoffs. I've been saying that for weeks. It's the first year of the ABL. I want to make the playoffs in the first year of the year. I want to make the playoffs every year, but I want to make the playoffs the first year. I don't think I have a chance to beat anybody I might face, barring catastrophe for those teams. And even Dodger Joe can have an Acuna go down and still be a beast. The Padres had Captain Jack go down, has still been great. So these teams are not just good because they have a good 1-9 or however you want to put it. They're good because they're deep and they can absorb this stuff. So even with a big injury, and me staying healthy, which has not happened the entire season, I have no illusions about beating who I'm playing. So no, there's not a dump by the Rockies, but I do want to get value for pieces that I am pretty certain that I wasn't going to keep, that were not part of my plan going forward with the way my team has turned out this year. I wasn't keeping Lubob. I probably wasn't keeping Moose. You know, Tony is gearing up for the playoffs. He's already got a spot clinched. He's one of the 7 spots clinched in the National League. He knows that his offense needs a boost. And when Lubob was healthy, granted it was for a very short amount of time, he was a 3+ point per game player, which is pretty decent relative to Tony's outfield right now. He likes the Swiss Army guys like Moose that play multiple positions. I don't know what the deal with Moose is. It's been the heel for months now. But the way Tony sees it is if he's going to have a chance to make any kind of run in the playoffs, he needs to get some offense going, and those were a couple of the guys that he landed on. I mean, it started off me asking for Joe Ross, and then it just kind of blossomed from there. Like, well, okay, I like Joe Ross, but I also like Graham Ashcraft. Like, what do I have to add for that? And then, well, if I add this, you know, he asked me, well, then what more can I add for you to throw in Lubob or whatever? Can we even talk? And that's just kind of how it happens. And Tony was a couple beers deep, so he was ready to wheel and deal. He hadn't made a big trade in a while, and bingo bango. I got the 24 first. You know, that's a long ass ways away. At first I wasn't really interested in it. I prefer players over picks, but there's nothing wrong with getting ready for the not all that distant future, but still when you look at it today, a 24 first rounder doesn't have, at least to me personally, doesn't have a ton of value. It could be anything, you know, but it looks nice to have sitting there because I'm pretty depleted on other picks. So I hope it works out for Tony. I hope it works out for me. But I just wanted to make it clear now I've spent 6 minutes on it that I am not dumping. The Rockies are not dumping. I will make a proclamation if I'm going to say, okay, well, you know what? Either the Mets have overtaken me or I just know I'm going to get smoked in the first round regardless, and I'm going to say Zach Gallen is on the block, you know, whoever else is on the block. I've shopped Lords to a couple of people, but that's not to dump. That's to help me now. You know, I got Joe Ross and Keuchel. Those are both going to help me now. Ashcraft is a prospect. He's a dart throw. The pick is a dart throw, but the pitchers and Willy Adames, those are all going to help me now. Willy Adames is much better than Simmons on a point per game basis. And Joe Ross and Keuchel combined, you know, with losing Strass and the way my pitching looks, I think I've only hit the 7 starts a week one time. So it's not like, I don't know, getting 2 starting pitchers and a shortstop that are helping me now. To me, I don't see it as a dump. I traded the bigger name, sure, but I don't think this is a dump. At least I'm not the owner of the Rockies is not considering it a dump. We're still going for the playoffs. So that said, after all that time wasted just talking about myself, let's take a look at week 15. Let's make that full screen. So we had 6 teams, and you know, segue into why I think I can still compete for that A spot. I managed to go 3-0 this week, and I did so on the back of having a very favorable schedule. The teams I played only scored 787 points. You look at the other teams that went 3-0. What do they all have in common? They scored a ton of points, and then there's me, 967, 1,400, 1,500, 1,500, 16.5, 16.5. The Padres, the White Sox, the Phillies, the Mariners, the Pirates all go 3-0. Those are all great teams. We all know that. And then there's the Rockies, managed to go 3-0 and did so scoring about 500-600 points less than the average team that went 3-0, and really the average team that went 2-1 if you look at it. But I had the pleasure of playing the Giants, the D-backs, and the Reds. So I drew 3 lucky straws all at once. Really, I'm going to play those teams. They're in the NL, and the Giants are in my division, and the D-backs are in my division. But I drew them all at once, so it looks really good to go 3-0. And I think that's the first week I've been able to say that about the Rockies. So I had a smile on my face at the end of the week, towards the end of the week, when it looked like I was going to be able to go 3-0. And then I was really hoping the Mets would take a beating, and they end up going 2-1 with one of the wins being by less than half a point, as we'll see when we move on to that stuff. So the Mets, I really thought I was going to gain a couple of games, but they ended up beating the Royals by a little more than a quarter of a point. So the Mets hanging on, and if you were in the Discord last night, you saw Dwight pop in and say he was indeed, still trying to go for that A seed. So it's me and Dwight and D-backs Jake, but the D-backs had a rough week, a rough 0-3 week. So he lost 3 games just on me, and lost 2.5 on the Mets. Your 2-1 teams, the Tigers, picked up a loss. Crazy. It's not very often we see the Tigers pick up a loss. And we had the Dodgers. Let's see, where are the damn Dodgers? Where are the Dodgers? I know the Dodgers took a loss. Right, yeah, the Dodgers took a loss right under the Tigers. So some major teams taking losses. We could just go down the list. These are top teams getting stuck with a loss. The Tigers, the Dodgers, the Twins, the Cardinals, the Angels, and the Cubs all get stuck with a loss. And then there's the Mets that also go 2-1. So kind of like the teams that were 3-0, you have stud teams, and the Rockies go 3-0. And then in 2-1, you have stud teams, and then the Mets go 2-1. So kind of a funky week. We had the Mets, also kind of like the Rockies, didn't score all that many points, but got paired up against the right teams to have a successful 2-1 week. And like the Rockies go 3-0. So both of us needing each other to lose, and we both end up picking the same week to have a pretty favorable schedule and not make it very easy on each other. Your teams that split the week, we had 3 teams go 1-1: the A's, the Red Sox, and the Brewers. The Red Sox, man, did the Red Sox show up on the? No, I don't think they did. Red Sox, looking at the points for and allowed, you would think that maybe they go 2-0 with only allowing about 600 points and scoring 750. But again, scheduling. And talk about really tough losses. So you had some of the stud teams take 1. Well, the Jays and the Marlins and the Rays all take 2 losses this week. So tough luck to those 3 teams, especially the Blue Jays. If you were in the Discord and happened to be present when Drew Steckenrider stepped onto the mound, and you knew Mark was not pleased about that, and his fear came to fruition. He did barely lose to Duke by, we'll see it when we were like 1.17 points or something. It's something incredible. We had 3 games decided by fewer than 3 points this week. So some tough losses. For the St. Louis loss was very tough. The loss that the Cardinals took was very thin to the Twins. So conversely, one of the 2 wins the Twins got was by a razor-thin margin. So interesting stuff this week on that extended scoring week. And then also, I should say, the Royals, the Yankees, the Royals, the Reds, the O's all go 1-2 on the week. The Royals had a thin win and a thin loss this week, but by and large got well outscored, but still managed to scrape a win. Your winless teams on the week, the Astros, tough week for the Astros, scoring 1,220 points, but taking 3 losses. The D-backs, the Nats, and the Rangers all go 0-3, while the Giants, the Braves, and the Clevelands go 0-2. Nothing crazy out of character there. Some very low scoring by the Rangers, the Braves, and the Clevelands, but that's not to be unexpected. These are, again, rebuilding teams. That shit's gonna happen. So let's remove that. Let's bring in the other numbers. So very, very interesting week, I think. Overall, it'd be interesting to see how it would have went if we didn't have those extra scoring days. With some of those really close matchups have been well decided already, and those extra days really ended up helping with those extra stars. We went from 7 stars to 11. I don't recall how many I had. I know I didn't get the full 11. Another crazy that the Rockies go 3-0. You know, just really happened to have very good scheduling this week, and I mean, it came in handy. If I had drawn the skinny straw or whatever, the short straw, the Mets go 2-1, and I get my ass kicked like usual and go 0-3. Suddenly, the Mets are looking, at least coming into this week 16, the Mets are looking a lot more favorable to work for that 8th playoff spot. And I'm sure Dwight probably is of the same mindset that I am, that no matter who he plays, we roughly know who he's going to be looking at playing. Probably not going to beat them. It would really take a miracle, kind of both ways, like a really great week for me or Dwight or Jake in Arizona to beat the Cubs or the Dodgers or whoever. Maybe would we possibly face the Pods as well or something like it, whoever it's going to be. There's a class in the National League, and then there's like, I think Tony has said that he feels like he's got nothing to play for this year, even though he's already got a spot clinched. He's fighting for his division. He maybe sees the writing on the wall that he's not going to beat the Pittsburghs, the St. Louis's, the Dodger's, the Padres', and probably even the Cubs. I mean, he's had his hands full with the Cubs as well. But Tony's in a little bit better shape than even Dwight or I. You know, Tony's the 7. We're going to be the 8. He's probably, at least depth-wise, he's in a much better shape than both of us. So maybe some guys are starting to see it. And in the AL, let's take another look here. Take another look, because we got some spots decided in the AL already. You got the Tigers are in, the Mariners are in, the White Sox are in, and the Angels are in. I think maybe the Blue Jays. Are the Blue Jays in? Definitely as well. So not technically yet, but the Jays are going to be in. But right now, it's Detroit, the White Sox, the Mariners, and the Angels are all in. And then you have right here the Jays, the Twins, the Rays, the Yankees are fighting for that 8th spot. And I guess with not completely out of it are the A's and the O's and the Astros, and then maybe even the Red Sox. I don't know if he has enough time, but realistically, it's probably going to be the Yankees in that 8th spot, and the rest are going to be decided. But it's just yet to see where exactly they will be. The Rays and Twins could possibly flip flop. I think that division, that AL East division, is. I mean, it really is still up for fights. The Rays could overtake the Jays, I suppose. The Jays' pitching is really separating themselves from the rest of the pack. Mark is rocketing up I believe he remade the top 5 on the season pitching. Yeah, he moved into 2nd place. He didn't remake it. He moved into 2nd. He remade the top 5 on the week. He took number 1. But he's up into 2nd place in overall pitching. He's just a few points behind the White Sox. So I'm getting out of turn here. The playoffs are starting to solidify a little bit. We know who it's very likely going to be. It's probably going to be the Yankees. It's probably going to be the Rockies or the Mets. And then the top teams are already set, for the most part. So with some weeks still to play, got some guys, maybe rest some guys, maybe play a little golf when you should have been making a start or something. But a lot of these guys are coasting now into the playoffs, but still want to score points, still want to be good. Well, why is there nothing there? There we go. Okay. So this is the tidbits here. Your biggest margin of the week. Now, as we've said before, you're going to see these same rebuilding teams on the fuzzy end of these lollipops: Texas, Atlanta, Washington, all in the big margins. And of course, there's some of them extra inflated because of the extended scoring week. But number 1, the Dodgers taking the top spot again over Texas, 441.67 points. Number 2, the White Sox over Atlanta, 405.166. So definitely the first week with 2 beatings over 400 points. Number 3, the Angels over Texas, 366.5. Number 4, the Angels over Washington, 310.5. So nice week by the Angels. Not appearing in the top 5 of either hitting or pitching, but still a very nice week all the same. Number 5, the Chicago Cubs over the Atlantas, 283.66 points, 67 points. So, biggest margin always to be taken with a bit of a grain of salt, but the smallest margin, that's where the money is. I mean, look at this week. Look at this week. 3 games decided by fewer than 3 points. The Mets over Kansas City, talked about it a little bit earlier, 0.334 points. So that is somebody scoring a run. That is somebody getting a strikeout. That is so many different things that managed to all, come together and create this microscopic win for the Mets over the Royals. And if the Mets do end up overtaking me for the 8 seed in the playoffs, we can look back at week 15 at this less than half a point win over the Royals, who were great this week. You can see the Royals were top 5 in point per game, averaged 4.29 points per game, but only had 68 games played. The Royals didn't have a bad week, but just came up short in the bid to beat the Mets. And then the Royals appear again at number 5 on the list. They beat the Diamondbacks by 12.833 points. So he shows up twice on this list as both a winner and a loser. That's contrary to the Blue Jays, who show up twice on this list as the loser both times. And he's in the number 2 spot against the aforementioned Pirates, the Drew Steckenrider game. It could forever be known as 1.167 points. The win over the Blue Jays by the Pirates. Number 3, Minnesota over St. Louis by 2.83 points. So 3 incredibly thin games. And those would combine. Not only are they all 3 by fewer than 5 points, but they all combine to amount to fewer than 5 points total for 3 matchups, all involving playoff or potential playoff teams. KC, probably not a potential playoff team, but the Mets are. Pittsburgh and Toronto, definitely. Minnesota, St. Louis, definitely. So these guys are still slugging it back and forth, even though they're all already in after this week. But, no punches being pulled here. No, nothing like that. No sitting starters. Fighting for every W. Every win is money. Every point matters, especially in this first year. You're trying to set the bar, like the Dodgers. And I didn't put in the notes, but the Dodgers have fallen out of that triple crown. They are no longer number 1 in pitching. The Dodgers still are tied for number 1 in point per game on the season. They are number 1 in hitting. They dropped down to number 4 in pitching. But, for entry year 1 of a dynasty league in a pretty already fairly close-knit league, you want to do as good as you possibly can. These guys are still, they're not going to sit back and say, well, I got playoffs sewn up. I'm not going to fuck with my lineup today. Like absolutely nobody is doing that. And it reflects in the numbers here. Number 4, Seattle over Toronto by 11 points. So Blue Jays Mark takes 2 losses this week by fewer than 12 combined points. So that is and you can see I have here good teams on a tough week. I had the Jays, the Rays, and the Astros, and the Jays are really exemplifying that by being a very good team on a very tough week. Two losses by fewer than 12 points is a very tough week. And number 5, I already said KC over Arizona, 12.833 points. So knocks Arizona's. They had a pretty bad week this week compared to the guys that they needed to lose. They needed the Rockies to lose. They needed the Mets to lose. And instead, the Mets go 2-1, the Rockies go 3-0, and the D-backs go 0-3. So that might be a hammering down a nail in the coffin on the slim chances that the Diamondbacks were looking at for the playoffs anyway. That probably hurts. Your point per game for week 15, the White Sox, number one, 4.49 points per game in 122 games played. The Phillies at number two, 4.44 in 113 games. The Pittsburgh Pirates, number three, 4.41 in 111 games played. San Diego at number four, 4.30 points per game in 128 points or games played. That's might be, I didn't look, but that might be top of the league, the 128. And number five, KC, nice to see you in there at 4.29, but not nice to see in only 68 games. So the Royals showing that they have the part of the team that plays is pretty good, but then there's just a lot of the team right now that's not. Be that, if I haven't looked at his roster lately, but I know he's got DeGrom. I know he's got injured DeGrom right now, so that could have been even better. Definitely would have helped beat the Mets had he had DeGrom. I can say that, not to stick the needle in, but your point per game on the season, Dodgers still number one, but tied with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh went from 4.29 to 4.3, and the Dodgers went from 4.31 to 4.3. So we have 1 and 1A at 4.3 points per game on the year. The White Sox at number three at 4.25. He goes up a little bit, and St. Louis goes down a little bit. He's in the 4 spot. He was 3 the week prior. He's number 4 now at 4.24. And Detroit holding the 5 spot steady at 4.19, which is exactly where he was the year before. You're hitting for week 15, the Phillies. We have seen the Phillies often in the top 5. They were number 1 this week, 323 hitting points. The Dodgers, number 2 at 315 hitting points. The Padres at number 3, 313. I feel like we're not used to seeing the Padres in the top 5 hitting, so kind of neat to see them in there. The White Sox at number 4. White Sox getting it done on both sides, 294 hitting points, and then they were number 2 in pitching. And Detroit also getting it done on both sides, as well as San Diego. All 3 of them, San Diego, the White Sox, and Detroit, all show up in the top 5 of both lists. Detroit number 5 in hitting at 287 points. So pretty close, pretty jumbled together there in the top 5, from 287 at the bottom to 323 at the top. Your top pitching teams in week 15, the Blue Jays, number 1, 262 points, and that actually vaulted them up from 3rd to 2nd in the overall, and he's really nipping at the heels of Harry's White Sox. In fact, everybody, let's deviate here for just a second, everybody in the top 5 pitching points, they're all kind of right there. Like, what did I say? They're all within 58 points of each other. All of the top 5 pitching teams from 25.73, and that's the White Sox, down to 25.15 and change, and that's the Cardinals. They are within 58 points of each other. So very close on the pitching side. The hitting, not so much. 31-40 to top it off, and then 37-27 to finish it off. Not as grouped there as we are in the pitching. Back to week 15. Number 3 in week 15 was the Tigers. So like I said, he shows up twice, just like the White Sox and just like the Padres. Number 3 was 239.67 points. Number 4, San Diego, 237.67. And number 5, Seattle, seems like he's there every single week almost, 235 points. And then we just did the pitching on the season. Quite a bit of shuffling, not really a lot of new teams, but quite a bit of shuffling. So the White Sox go from 2nd to 1st. The Dodgers go from 1st to 4th. The White Sox the Mariners from 4th to 3rd. The Blue Jays from 3rd to 2nd. Seattle, St. Louis stays in 5. And the hitting, we had a little bit of shuffling. The top 3 stay the same. The Dodgers, the Pirates, the Tigers, and then 4 and 5 swaps. So Philadelphia moving up the ranks. He is in the 4 spot now, and St. Louis is in the 5 spot. I don't think I had a whole lot of other notes. Top 5 hitting and pitching shakeups we did. Kansas City with another appearance. So, yeah, that's not his first in the point per game weekly. San Diego, the White Sox, and Detroit all in the top 5 hitting and pitching. We did the top 5 pitching teams and then 58 points. Good teams on the tough week, the Jays, the Rays, and the Astros. The Astros go 0-3. Tough week for them because I think he scored like 1,220 points, but he allowed 1,500. And bad team, good week, the Rockies. The Rockies go 3-0 And I think if I had been playing really any other combination of 3 teams, I probably would have taken at least one loss. Maybe not like the Nats. So, I mean, yeah, sure, I would have beat some teams, but I think it was pretty favorable the week I ended up having. But what that did was, if you relive my first 8-minute rant on how that trade is not a dump, I got guys. I had planned on treading water until Strass got back, and then my team would, I'd have the 1 or 2 shitty starts from him, but then he would start to feel it, and maybe he would be Strass, and those were the delusions in my head, at least. And now that I know that's definitely not happening, I did what it took to. I didn't like the deal that I was going to have to make. Well, I didn't not like it, but I didn't love the deal that I was going to have to make to just get Joe Ross. So we expanded upon it quite a bit. I didn't want to make that move for just Joe Ross, and I knew that Tony was looking to improve his offense stuff, but I in no way see it as a dump. I know I was just getting ready to get Lou Bob back, but right now with Duran, my outfield's pretty crowded. I've got Carlson, I've got Gallo, I've got Duran, I've got Lords. And yeah, that's a good problem to have, but I wasn't keeping Lou Bob. I felt that was a slight bit of, if there's any depth on my team right now at all, it was probably in that outfield. So let's deal from that, and I pick up 2 starting pitchers. Yeah, I traded Dean Kramer, but he had not been very good. He's probably more of a going forward guy for Tony. I doubt he's looking for him to help this year. He's in the minors right now. But anyway, that's the long and short of it. Rocky's not dumping. You will know if I'm dumping because I would not trade a player the caliber of Lou Bob if I was dumping without shopping him around. I would have put that out there. Hey, if anybody's interested in Lou Bob, he's coming back. Send me what you got. I liked the deal that I had with Tony. I ultimately liked it. We eventually got there. And I felt okay making it. I feel okay that wasn't a dump. So and nobody came to me and said, "Hey, you should have. That was a dump." I wanted a chance. I want to be clear. Nobody came to me and said that. Nobody came to me angry and was like, "Oh, I wanted Lou Bob or I wanted Moose or anything." No, that did not happen. There was just some question as to maybe if I was a different team, if I didn't have a chance at that 8 spot and I didn't get anybody back to help me this year, that probably does look like a dump, and I didn't proclaim dump. So I'm just saying I could see that side, and I just wanted to be clear about it without having to type all that out, basically. So that's week 15. If anybody didn't check out the Discord earlier this morning, about 7 o'clock or so, Sam had done some really interesting stuff overnight with teams' minor league systems. I don't know how much I agree with it because mine is terrible, but I knew mine wasn't very good anyway. But I think it doesn't take Duran into account because he doesn't have a green flag anymore. So maybe I wouldn't be so bad, but pretty cool stuff. And it's just another instance of somebody taking their own free time and doing something really cool with regards to this league. And I think that's great. I love this league. Even if I don't make the playoffs, I love this league. That's week 15. Thanks for watching. See you next time.